And welcome to week 6 of English 110. My name is Beth, as if you did not know that by now. This week we are working on the final component of this course. This is the analysis essay component. You have 2 assignments due this week. You have a forum where you're going to be writing a counter argument and a rebuttal for your analysis essay. Then you're going to be writing an annotated bibliography. And I'm going to go briefly through both. But before we begin, I want to click on the lessons. I want to show 2 things that you're going to have to read this week. First, obviously, you need to read through the lessons. And here's a lesson. You're going to read through what it means by analytical thinking. It's a little bit different than the informative speech, where you're just reading information about something, you're giving information about something, you're kind of describing something. An analysis is where you're delving in deep and you're really thinking about an issue critically. You're diving beneath the surface and you're thinking critically about a topic. Now, what do I mean by critically? Well, let's go back a bit, and then I want you to click on the week 6 analyzing information section. Now, I don't believe I had this pulled up, but in your readings this week, it has something about dinner table topics. So I want to bring up a brief story, and it's not a long story, but I remember as a military spouse, like I think I brought this up earlier, it was one Thanksgiving and we all got together, all of these military families got together because we were away from our families, and someone brought up the grand idea, let's bring up controversial topics. So we did. And of course, that Thanksgiving, we all ended up yelling at each other because none of us agreed on these controversial topics. It's a terrible way to end a Thanksgiving dinner, obviously. But these controversial topics, these topics that are at issue, are the very same topics that I want you to bring up in this final analysis essay. These are the quote-unquote dinner table topics. Personally, I think these are topics that you should never bring up at a family dinner, but whatever. They're brought up in this reading. But these are the dinner table topics. These are the ones with which reasonable people could disagree. These are the topics that are controversial that you need to persuade your reader to agree. Okay, one of the ways you get your reader to agree with you is if you show the reader that you understand their side. Okay? So when you write your essay this week, don't just write, and I'm just going to click through as I'm talking, don't just write your essay as though your reader agrees with you. And that was one of the issues that I saw this week with the position essays, is that you wrote your essay as though I agree with you. And sometimes I did, and sometimes I didn't. It didn't matter, really. I graded your essay as though I graded the logic of your argument, basically. But this week, I want you to think about me being an audience member that does not agree with you. I disagree with you. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. The dinner table test. I want you to take special note of this section of the reading. Do your questions pass the dinner table test? So when you write your essay this week, I want you to take into account the other side. Pretend it's my side. And I want you to explain my side to me as though you understand my side. And don't just dismiss my side. I want you to honor my side. And I want you to show that you understand my side and that you appreciate my side, right? And then I want you to show how I might be mistaken with my side, all right? So that is the purpose of the counter argument and rebuttal. Of course, when you bring in the counter argument in your essay, you don't bring in the counter argument as though it's your side. So you need to make it clear in your essay that this is the other side. All right? So, and I'm going to kind of sort of talk my way through it. So let's go ahead and go to the forums this week. So you're going to be writing the counter argument and rebuttal. And this is what I want you to bring in. I want you to talk about your thesis statement. And I'm going to try to discuss everyone's thesis statement, especially those who post their thesis statement on time. Does your thesis statement pass the dinner table test? Is it controversial? That's what I want to see. I want to see a controversial, persuasive thesis statement. I want you to give an answer to a controversial issue, and I want you to choose a side. Then I want you to give the counter argument, pretend it's my side. And I want you to kind of show that you understand the other side, and then I want you to refute the other side with the rebuttal. So when you write your essays later on, the analysis essay, you're going to give an introduction, end with the thesis statement, this final sentence, the thesis. You're going to give your first point, proving the thesis, second point, proving the thesis, and so on and so forth, how many points you want, proving that thesis. Then you're going to give me my counter argument, refuting that, showing me the other side, and then you're going to refute that counter argument with your rebuttal. Then you're going to give me the conclusion. If you want to, you can also bring in the counter argument after the thesis statement. I don't mind. You can rearrange the counter argument and bring that up earlier. A lot of times people bring it up earlier. I prefer to bring it up after the thesis statement. The assignment does request that you bring it up later. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you have a counter argument in your essays. That's due later on in the course. Do you have any questions? If so, make sure you ask me either through the forum or in the messages. In the student replies, I want you to focus on, again, the thesis statement and the structure, the counter argument and rebuttal. I'm less concerned about whether or not you agree or disagree with a topic. We discussed that in week 3 already. I'm less interested in that. I'm more concerned about the writing of your classmate. All right. Next up, the annotation exercise. So let's take a look at the annotated bibliography exercise. I know this seems kind of tricky, but it really is not. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to use your writing style, your writing format. Here it shows MLA, but you can use MLA, APA, Chicago Turabian, and you're going to find 2 sources. You're going to create citations for both of those sources, and then you're going to give me 3 to 4 sentences summarizing that source. You need to use one source from the APUS library. You also need to let me know in your document what sort of citation style you're using, because sometimes I can't tell. Okay, sometimes it's hard for me to tell. Here it says College 300. I'm going to fix that in the assignment directions. It should say English 110. All right, so I'm going to bring up the library. Remember, you click on the library. It will come up with this. My advice would be to go through A through Z list or click on by subject depending on what your topic is. My favorite is my go-to, EBSCOhost. Now, let's say you're writing on global warming and climate change. I don't care what your stance is, though. I don't care what your stance is. This is an assignment. So, but let's say you want to prove that climate change is real. All right. So you click on your chosen article, right? And then you read through the full text of the article because you have to summarize the article. Don't just read the abstract. Don't just cut and paste the abstract. Guess what? Turnitin will pick up on that. You actually have to read the article. You don't have to read it. You can scan it. You can kind of get the gist of it. You don't have to study the article. You don't have to memorize the article, but you have to get the gist of it so you can write 3 to 4 sentences. My advice obviously would be to choose articles that you would use in your essay, in your analysis essay, right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to click on the Cite button. you're going to choose your citation. So I am going to choose APA. Then I'm going to cut and paste. Then I'm going to click on Word. Then I'm going to cut and paste it into Word. Now note this. It's not perfectly cited. There are issues sometimes with the database citations, although it saves you so much time when you use the database citations. It is called references. So you center that. You change the last name. Sometimes they have it in all caps. And then you also remember you only capitalize the first word for APA. All right? And then remember, for most of the writing styles, you have to use a hanging indent. Take out the hyperlink, and there you have it. Now, after that, write your annotation. Whoop, you know what? I noticed this. There we go. I'm going to fix that because that is not cool. And then write your annotation. You want it all the way flush to the left. Write the annotation. It should be at least 3 sentences long. If you write less than 3 sentences, you will not get full credit. Does it have to be double spaced or single spaced for the annotations? I don't care. Either way is fine with me. Just make sure your annotations are grammatically correct. All right. Do you have any questions? If so, send me a message. I think that's about it, everyone. I know this lesson is a little bit short, but I promise to try to respond to everyone in the forums this week. And I am enjoying the papers so far, and I promise to get those back to you by Friday. Have a great week, everyone. See you online.